Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where today we're going to be taking a look at the Artisan Cutlery Arion. Now, if you guys remember, recently I just did a review of the Artisan Cutlery Small Arion, which was a White Mountain Knives exclusive. I love that one so much, I said, boy, I'd love to get my hands on the full-size thing, and yeah, one of my awesome viewers happened to have one and said, hey, Wayne, can I send it to you? You want to take a look at it? I said, yes, sir, thank you very much. So here we are. Now, let's take a look at this, and first let's cover some overall specs. We have an overall length of 8.375 inches with a blade length coming in at 3.625 inches. The cutting edge is right about the same with a blade width of 1.25 inches. Blade thickness on this guy is 0.13 inches. Blade material being S35VN, always a good steel choice. Spear point style blade, flat grind, a handle length coming in at 4.75 inches with a handle thickness coming in at 0.43 inches. Handle width on this guy is 1 inch with handle material being micarta on the show side and titanium on the lock side. As you can see, we have a frame locking mechanism with a right hand tip-up carry, right hand only tip-up carry. Weight coming in at 3.65 ounces, a price of $199, and this is a design from Cerberus Knives in collaboration with Artisan Cutlery. Now let's take a look at some size comparisons, because this is a big boy. This is not your average knife. Let's start with a couple Civivis. We have the Civivi Brazen, as well as the Civivi Imperium. So, pretty, sort of comparable. The Arion is a long knife, and a little more of it is in the handle than the blade, as you can see. The blades for all three of these knives are somewhat similar, a little closer to the Brazen since it doesn't have the finger choil in terms of a sharpened edge, but still pretty close right there. And then got a few more. Always good. I've always personally liked size comparisons when I watch reviews, so I try to have enough in my reviews. We have the real steel Rocot, oldie but a real goodie, and we have the CJRB Feldspar, another oldie but real goodie. And as you can see, pretty close there too. Pretty comparable with the Rocot in terms of handle length. And one last one, this isn't a real close size comparison, this is more of a model comparison, because you know I was going to bring it out. That is the Small Arion, the White Mountain Knives exclusive. If you guys want to get your hands on one of these, or anything from White Mountain Knives in that matter, use this code right here, WSW10, and you'll save 10% off your order of anything at White Mountain Knives. They are a fantastic retailer, excellent customer service. Excellent customer service from top to bottom, as a matter of fact. They definitely take care of their customers, so look them up if you're looking for some cool knives or EDC gear. But as you can see here, this is I like the step down in size that they did. They didn't go too small, or they didn't just knock it down like a little bit, barely noticeable. Very, very good, large and small, very distinguishable, like what they did there. And not a lot of bad things to say about either one of these. Not trying to spoil the review too much, but this here is a pretty darn good knife. Pleasantly surprised by this one, and really big fan of this blade. It is a blade that, even though it may not look like it is a heavy use knife, this is a blade that's ready to work. 0.13 inches, plenty thick enough stock, and what I like is how they carry that thickness basically all the way to the tip. I mean, it obviously gets a little thinner at the tip, but it's not too dainty, so you can really do some good slicing and good tip work there. The blade is nice and wide going into that spear point, and just very slicey in general, with a behind the edge reading at 18 thousandths. So that's definitely going to get the job done, especially with almost a full flat grind. I mean, you got a full flat grind up at the tip, and then up here you have a little bit of a flat. But you have perfect jimping on the spine of this guy. Very, very effective. I wish I could have this kind of jimping on every knife, because it's just enough to really bite your finger without leaving little like micro cuts from the from the milling being too sharp. And just like the Arion, you have that excellent cutout for deployment. We'll talk more about that when we get to the action, but I always thought, just looking at this knife, that this would be difficult to deploy, and it is absolutely not. Going into the handle and ergos, the ergos are really good. They're almost too thin because it's such a big knife. I think any thinner would be too thin, but they really did just kind of hit the nail on the head in terms of thickness on this handle. Now, obviously, some people like thicker handles. This is definitely not going to feel like one of those thick handles. Something to consider, but I tell you what, it feels really darn good in my hand. It's wide enough to where it really works well with the thinness of the handle, and definitely a great knife for someone with bigger hands. As you can see, I'm holding it fully in my hand right here, and you got basically a whole other finger's worth down there. So, you know, if you got 6 fingers, this is a knife that is for you. I don't think we have anyone that falls in that boat, but just thought I'd throw it out there. But no, you can really widen your grip. You can spread your fingers out and still have a nice full grip. Feels good in a lot of different hand positions, and you can just really move the handle around and work with it. So very, very functional handle, but also very simple. There's not anything anywhere forcing your fingers or forcing your grip placement. Very, very nice, well thought out, simple design. You also have very nice micarta on the show side, and this is something that I've seen a lot with Artisan. I don't know if I've ever seen bad micarta on an Artisan Cutlery model, or CJRB for that matter. So that does say a lot. It's always nice to have that good, that grainy texture with the good grip and tackiness to it. You definitely have that here. No real fraying, nothing getting too nasty, and just looks really, really good. I'm also a huge fan of the micro milling on this lock side. If you look real close, there it is. You can see it, and man, listen for it. You can really feel it, hear it, and it truly does make a huge difference in your grip. If you ever move your finger against the milling lines, you get that good little bit of tackiness from something that's so smooth and grip. It feels really, really good, and it does look good because you do notice it. Looking down here by the clip does not have it, but you can see it very well on the actual lock side. So very, very nice. I wish you'd see that more. I'm assuming that takes some time. I don't know how they do that, if it's through actual milling or some type of laser work. I don't know, but I really, really like that a lot. You have a pocket clip that it pretty much goes unnoticed in the hand. I love this pocket clip on this knife. Nice, low profile, goes in and out of the pocket just fine, holds and secures to the pocket just fine. And it's such a wider handle, you really don't feel this clip at all. It's like it's not even there, and I absolutely love that. I wish every clip was like this. Sometimes I think there's too much thought that goes into a clip, or obviously not enough, but this is one that is just a prime example of simple is better, and you definitely have that. It looks good on it too. It doesn't take away from the overall profile and design of the knife. Just a nice, simple complement. Excellent pocket clip on this guy. And it's obviously not super deep carry, but you're still only going to be seeing, like, I don't know, this much of the knife. So no real issue there whatsoever. A+ across the board for the carry and clip on this guy. Also have very easy access to the lock bar, and the blade falls shut pretty easily. Very light shake, and it's coming down on you. Very, very nice action on the close, and action on deployment. Yeah, it's just as good, if not a little better. That middle finger flicking action is fantastic. You can use your thumb. You have to get used to it. You got to really kind of press down on it. In my opinion, this is not a knife for thumb deployment. You can kind of slow roll it, but again, it's just kind of meh. This is a middle finger flicking knife first and foremost, and I could do this all day. Very, very fidgety, super smooth. Those bearings, you feel the bearings, they work great. And not quite as snappy as the small Arion. Let me bring the small Arion in here real quick. So the Arion, it really flies out a little quicker, and you get a little more of that clicky, snappy sound. But that's also, I think, just because of the smaller, lighter blade. I don't think there's anything more to it than that. So no real issue. Comparing these two, and one other thing, I will say it is a little easier to actually get in there and get your middle finger in the cutout of this, only because I don't even think it's really a distance thing. I mean, they're really just as close, but this is a little, it's actually not even thicker. I don't know what it is. I thought for sure it was the thickness of the handle, but there's just something about it to where I feel like you definitely have to dig your middle finger in just a little more to get this blade out. But as you can see, it's still not hard. And I really can't even put my finger on it, but it just feels a little more effortless to get your middle finger into the cutout of this guy as it is this guy. But again, I'm not complaining. I honestly love both of these, but in the action department, they're very, very similar. If I had to pick one, I originally thought I would like the small Arion better, but the more I handle this regular sized Arion, I really don't think I have a preference. Very surprising, because this is still just as smooth in its own right, and they're both great. My overall thoughts on these guys are both super positive. I didn't mean to pull the small Arion in as much as I have, but it's such a good comparison because there's so many people that live in states where you have those size restrictions on blade length. This is perfect for that. If you need a 3 inches or small blade, 3 inches or smaller blade, this is for you. If you like bigger knives and you can carry the bigger blades, this is absolutely for you. You really can't go wrong with either one. Focusing back on this regular Arion, I am a huge fan. I heard a lot of people saying a lot of real positive things about it when it came out, and to be honest, I just kind of brushed it aside because I didn't really think it would be quite for me. But luckily, I have a channel where I review knives that aren't just for me, that are for everyone that want to know what they're about. And I'm glad I'm doing that because this really opened my eyes to this Arion. Big fan of this. Like this knife a whole lot. Let me know what you guys think. Do you have a small or large Arion? I'm assuming more of you probably have the large Arion. It's been out longer. Let me know what you think. Am I on point here with the action? How do you like the middle finger flicking action on it? And what do you think of the knife in general? I look forward to reading your guys' thoughts and comments on that. Hope you enjoyed this one. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And until the next one, I'm out.